Are we live yet? We're live where we're live.
Don't do that.
We did it, and we're about to be live.
No, don't do that. Don't do
where
that.
we're currently not yet live.
Are we live?
We're live 4 out of 6. Make that 5 out of 6 platforms. And it should be 6 out of 6 platforms now. So make sure that's on mute. All right. This is Propaganda Report. I'm Brad Binkley, joined by Ian Covell. What's the show title now? I didn't even... What we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about some of those weird science stories that we were going to get to on Tuesday. A little bit about the DC crash and some other thing that's in the title that you might be looking at.
Fake law and weird science.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Fake law. Thank you. That's exactly what it's some AI, a lot of AI focused stuff. But no, we'll start with a little bit of a quick update. I don't spend the whole time talking about the crash because that's what's been going on all day long. But I want to say this again, which I said last night as I was going through it and trying to learn information in earnest about it. The thing that no one is talking about when it comes to this crash, which is based on what I can find, and I've asked a lot of people, and I've actually spent a lot of time researching this the past 24 hours, this seems to be the first time ever in the United States that a helicopter has had a midair collision with a commercial passenger jet. First time ever. In fact, seems to be only the second time it's ever happened in the world, with the first time being in Syria in 2012 when a helicopter had a midair collision with a Syrian commercial airliner, an Airbus that had 200 passengers on it, and the helicopter got caught in the rotor of the plane or something. Everybody, the 3 people in the helicopter, it crashed, everybody died, but the plane in that instance landed safely, and everyone on board was fine. Maybe I'm wrong, but I haven't been able to find any other instances of this. There's been helicopter on helicopter crashes. There's been helicopters have midair collisions with small private planes, but not commercial airliners. And the reason that stands out to me is because, what's up, Sam? Some of the explanations, there's many explanations. We'll get to the blame. That's another part of the title. Is that this type of thing is so difficult. There's these helicopters and planes in this popular airport, and there's a bunch of people talking about it very matter-of-factly as though, like they expected this thing to happen, like it's so common, when the fact is it's absolutely uncommon and abnormal because it's the first time it's ever happened. Maybe it's a matter of time type thing, but I just find it interesting that it's being talked about as though by a number of people with big platforms, as though it's a fender bender that's just going to happen.
I was reading earlier today that apparently this is not the first time, though, that there have been near collisions between airplanes there and helicopters over there.
They said there's been near collisions, but never before has it happened in the history of America until yesterday.
Right? I mean, it's just...
That's why, because it's a contradiction to me, that matter-of-factness, and, this almost happens all the time. Like, it almost happens all the time, but it literally had never happened before, ever, until yesterday. So it doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
There are a lot of things that don't make sense today. You know?
Absolutely.
We're at the barbershop today. We were all talking about that.
Really? You go to the black barbershop?
I do. And I got a little cleaned up. And
looks good.
We were all, thanks, man. We were all talking about it today. And doesn't add up. Doesn't add up.
These guys were talking about it at the barbershop?
Swear to God. Yep.
What did they think?
We all agreed that flying is stupid now. That none of us are flying anymore.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't add up. I think everyone was in full agreement on that. There's something missing here.
Right. So if you take the other end of it, the way that a lot of people are talking about it, where there's almost always these near crashes, and it's just so common that we're expecting it almost. that in and of itself, to me, seems like a problem. If a bunch of people who know about flying in DC in helicopters, seemingly, are just expecting a helicopter to crash into a commercial airliner, possibly taking it down. Oh, yeah, it's going to happen. If that's really an expectation, then perhaps we shouldn't be having
Helicopters near
Army
airports.
helicopters conducting training missions in such a highly trafficked plane. Like,
What were they
imagine
training for?
right. That's another great question. Imagine being told that your family member just died in an airplane crash because it got ran into by a military helicopter that was conducting a training mission. Like, it's like, why was
Training
it
for
doing
what?
that? Or
Yeah.
that your military family member died because it ran into an airplane, something that has never happened before.
Yeah.
Why would you want to fly through that if there's such an expectation that this is going to happen? I'd be like, I'm not going to go to DC. You have the training missions for God knows what going on.
Yeah.
Thank you. You'll clap when I'm gone. We appreciate that. With the super chat.
What's that?
So super chats are a way to donate to support the show, along with the link on the screen here, which is, what is that link again? It's tinyurl.com/prop show, where you can make a one-time donation, or you can make a recurring donation of your choosing. It can be $1 a month, can be $5 a month, can be $10,000 a month, can be whatever it is. But that is what helps support the show, helps the show continue to exist, and sharing the show with your friends if you like it, and leaving a 5-star review with comments that warm our hearts. That's really what keeps, I think, keeps us motivated.
Yeah, for
especially
sure.
when people think we're funny and insightful. It just makes us smile, I think. And so we appreciate all that and all the
Brad
support that
sends
you guys
them to
give.
me. He sends screenshots.
I
to
do.
me
I
when
send
I'm at
screenshots every time.
work. Yep.
Because that's makes it worth doing. So I appreciate that. And Patreon also, propagandafight.com is the website. But Linktree, follow me on X at Freedom Act Radio, Ian at Hello Covell, which I know he's thinking about changing, and Reginald on X.
Reginald's been very busy. I told you I heard from him. He's in California setting up relief abortion clinics.
Yeah, thank goodness.
Yeah.
He should
He goes
over
to
there.
disaster areas and provides free abortions.
He should go get some of those Gaza condoms. If they're ban all helicopters, says Nate. This is what happens when you allow assault helicopters. Yeah, I just like I totally. I bet most people who fly in and out of DC weren't aware that there were military training exercises going on in the airspace. All
Yeah.
these training exercises that have these live training simulations and stuff that are conducted all the time. Like they had one in Marta a few years back where what looked like armed terrorists came in and were like firing fake guns and stuff. And many people didn't know about it. They were freaked out. And then they were told it was a training exercise. They do these things where they will have trains tipped over and they'll have fake bodies laying everywhere, and they'll have actual crisis actors that they hire to come to these things. And what they'll do is they'll post a notice like on the bathroom of a public restroom area that like nobody sees. So when they see this, what looks like a real tragedy with a production value, I mean, this is like high quality production, people freak out sometimes and think it's real. And I got to tell you, this training military helicopter thing, pretty damn real with the consequences of what happened.
Yeah.
Do the airplane pilots know this is going on? Is there a schedule sent out to them? These are questions that nobody has been asking, as far as I can tell.
Yeah. Did we just get lucky? Like you
Thank you,
said,
Diesel.
this whole time, did we
Right.
just
It's
get
been
lucky?
sheer luck since the beginning of helicopters and planes. Right. We've been expecting this for 50 years.
If you ran a probability simulation, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, this really should have happened about 24 times by now.
I don't know.
We just kept rolling the dice.
I don't know, man. I drive through Atlanta without dying. Knock on wood. And that's pretty lucky. You see how people drive through the city. It's fucking insane.
I'm texting
everyone
usually when I'm driving. I
everyone
can't
drives
see.
like they're being chased by a cop. Everybody.
Yeah. No, I had a guy being chased by a literal like
Yeah.
8 cops
Yeah.
when I was at a red light in Castleberry. Swerve his motorcycle towards my truck because he was trying to get the police officers that were chasing him to run into me.
You ever get swarmed by one of those dirt bike and ATV crews?
Dude, I had dirt bikes circling around me in Castleberry the other day. I'm like, what are we doing here, guys?
Insane.
It's crazy. That's a new thing in Castleberry, the
so
dirt
insane.
bikes. I'm like,
Yeah.
you better watch out for the helicopter training
you
missions. Could take out a dirt bike too.
It feels like I'm in Mad Max when that's happened to me.
Yeah, it really does. Thank you, Dee's. Yeah, I've got the Dee's last album still on the back cover here. Friend of the show, guest of the show. Check out his album. What platform is that on? Leave that link in the chats of your album, Dee's Laughs. Often featured in the end segment, the end music segment. My brain is fried today. On No Agenda Show. Very cool. So that's my pressing questions about the crash. But here's the latest updates that I've seen that may or may not be the most breaking, but we'll hit them just real quick here. So the Army Black Hawk crew, it says they were top pilots, had thousands of hours of experience, and both of the pilots had flown this specific route before at night. It was nothing new, according to the spokesperson for either one of them. And he said, these are our top pilots doing the National Capital Region. While the pilot being evaluated was at the wheel, if something had gone wrong, the instructor would likely have taken control. Well, something clearly went wrong. Not if, something clearly went wrong, I think there. Thank you, Steve. I do sink threes from time to time. Now, on the plane were figure skaters from Russia and the U.S., which that definitely raises questions. Conspiracies are always going to emerge until questions are answered. That's natural, and they should emerge, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Dana doesn't believe anything they say, and I think that should be, for me, that's a good standard.
Yeah.
Is they have to prove what they say, not just assert it and have me accept it at this point. And Democrats are blaming Trump, his Doge effort, and Trump is blaming DEI. So one CNN commentator, give a few examples. Baraki Sellers, he's one of the worst, like, in just saying, he's like the Joy Reid of CNN, but a guy. He immediately, after the news of the crash broke, posted a screenshot of a new release from the House Committee on Transport and Infrastructure, which announced a Trump-issued hiring freeze on air traffic control. Because that immediately just all the air traffic
controllers. Well, they all had to go home.
They had to stop
They
working.
got fired. And there was just an empty tower up there.
Right. Well,
just coffee cups and papers.
I heard they might have even been about to warn them even sooner, but then that freeze came in, and
they were like, I gotta go.
I gotta turn this off.
I gotta turn this off. Click.
And he eventually deleted this tweet because he got a lot of backlash. Didn't really apologize, just deleted it. There's also a number of other. I was watching it live last night, and that was kind of what they went to immediately. Is that the cutting of everything is what caused all this?
So dumb.
Yeah, it is. It's not logical whatsoever. And so it's also being reported that the air traffic controller at Reagan, at the tower, that they were understaffed at the time of the crash. So the staffing level was not normal for that time of day and during that level of traffic in the air, to be exact, is what the New York Times said. Apparently, the air traffic controller who was handling helicopters was also handling commercial planes. So both of them.
And taking orders for everyone's lunch.
Obviously. And having to, decide if he was going to violate the freeze or not. And so those jobs are usually assigned to two separate people. And they say one person was doing this, but they also go on to say in the New York Times that this has been the case for a long time. They've been understaffed for a very long time. So it doesn't seem to be a change other than the crash. That is a change, definitely. And then the story also goes on to tie Elon Musk and the Doge efforts to it. There's like headlines. One of them says the FAA administrator quit on January 20th after Elon Musk told him to resign. So that obviously, if he quits,
Then
helicopters,
people don't know what to do.
They're done.
They
have
show
no
up at
idea.
work and they're like, "Well, what are we going to do today?" I don't know. The director quit, so
Right.
we just gotta sit here.
We're done. This for the first time ever, this helicopter is going to crash. What do you want me to do?
What do you want me to do about it? Yeah, I mean, come on.
So, Trump, just to give you an example of how Trump was presenting his theories about what happened earlier today. Here he is. Put that up on screen. And maybe we can get the answer here from President Trump.
Brilliant people have to be in those positions, and their lives are actually shortened, very substantially shortened because
Talk
of the
about air
stress.
traffic.
Where you have many, many planes coming into one target, and you need a very special talent and a very special genius to be able to do it. Targeted disabilities are those disabilities that the federal government, as a matter of policy, has identified for special emphasis in
So he's talking about the special emphasis on DEI hires among air traffic controllers right here.
recruitment and hiring. The FAA's website states they include hearing, vision, missing extremities, partial paralysis, complete paralysis, epilepsy, severe intellectual disability, psychiatric.
So it could have been just an ill-timed epilepsy attack.
I'm just imagining all of this is the whole. It was one flew over the cuckoo's nest inside that air tower.
Yeah. I don't know that you should be hiring people with epilepsy to watch a bunch
Yeah.
of bleeps and dots on radars.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tony, for the tip on Rockfin. We appreciate that very much.
on.
And he continues to lay out the types of DEI hires.
Disability and dwarfism all qualify.
Okay, so that was clearly what it was. It
was
was
a
a dwarf.
Yeah, couldn't see what was over the counter.
He's just pushing
Can't
buttons. with
reach
his hand covers. He
anything.
has no idea.
Yeah. Sorry if there's any dwarfs in the show. I mean,
Fine.
listen to the show tonight.
For the position of a controller of airplanes pouring into our country, pouring into a little spot, a little dot on the map, a little runway.
Little dwarf.
The initiative is part of the FAA's diversity and inclusion hiring plan. Think of that. The initiative is part of the FAA's diversity and inclusion hiring plan,
I love
which
that he's
says
just
diversity
reading
is integral to achieving
a
FAA's mission.
manual to these.
He's
to the
reading
press.
Laura Loomer's
He's
latest
just,
tweet, probably.
He's just reading this. I love it.
Mission of ensuring safe and efficient travel. I don't think so. I think it's just the opposite.
He looks very tan.
The
also.
FAA website shows that the agency's guidance on diversity hiring were last updated on March 23rd of 22. They wanted to make it even more so. And then
So
I
funny.
came in.
You know, Shane Gillis always talks about how Trump is just your dad, right?
Yeah.
And he's so right. Like, this is exactly what my dad would do if he was reading this. If I put this in front of him and said, read this out loud and tell me your thoughts,
Yeah.
this is exactly what he would do.
And I assume maybe this is the reason. The FAA,
The dwarfs.
which is overseen by Secretary Pete Buttigieg, a real winner. That guy's a real winner. Do you know how badly everything's
You got a gay guy hiring a dwarf.
run since he's run this Department of Transportation? He's a disaster. He was a disaster as a mayor. He ran his city into the ground, and
He's not even a good bottom. Now, if this wasn't so soon, you could make a really great sketch out of Pete Buttigieg hiring this collection of quadriplegics, people with epilepsy, and
Oh, my
dwarfs. That Trump, he says they have to be very genius people, which I think that would be a very stressful job, to do.
I wouldn't want to do it.
AJ, I wouldn't either. He says, where's that? Why can't I see that? He says a dwarf with ADD, a deadly combination. Michael says, I want to see an interview with the air traffic controller. That would be an interesting interview for sure. Dana says the misinfo is circulating big time. I agree. I the politics of this to me is what Trump is saying. These DEI, the guidelines for hiring, it is ridiculous. 100%. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know that it could be connected to this yet. Maybe, but
look, I don't think any of these things should necessarily preclude you from being hired for any job, but I don't think it should be something that should be the tipping point in your favor either. Like,
what
you
you're
shouldn't tip
telling
anything in your
me,
favor.
as a epilepsy, you suffer from epilepsy, you'd like to be my strobe light operator.
If you can do it,
Right, yeah, anybody gets a
If you
chance.
can do it without having an epileptic seizure, you can be my guy. Just we're gonna turn the strobe light on.
You want to
right
dust
now.
off the top of my cabinet as a dwarf, sir? Is that what you're? Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. It shouldn't exclude anybody. I
stupid.
completely agree. It should be a merit. It should be what you can do. That's really
Just based it on merit. You know what I'm saying?
and Poe Stoner.
If you can be
Yeah.
blunt, look. I used to work and when I was a kid, I worked in a Pizza Hut, and the dude who worked the front counter and answered the phones was blind.
So the phone just rang, and he's putting pizza on
No,
his
he
face.
could fucking type in the computer and all that stuff. And here's the thing, though, he was also a dick.
Oh man.
He was such an asshole. He was such a dick.
Did you ever go? You blind?
I gave him the I let him off the hook for being blind for about a week, and then we just hated each other. You know.
Well, so you saying maybe he was taking advantage of? It's like the Bubble
know.
Boy episode of Seinfeld, where he's in a bubble and he's a dick to
he had
everybody.
little tricks and stuff. He could you could hand him any kind of denomination, and he could just rub it and feel it and be like, that's a 5.
He
That's
could,
a 10.
really.
Yeah,
And he could
yeah.
hear like across the city.
Yeah, like Spider-Man.
Daredevil, yeah.
That's what I mean. Yeah, like Daredevil. Yeah.
Stoner says, is a dwarf just a fat elf? Maybe it was an out of work Christmas elf for all we know. He loved working at Pizza Hut.
It was a fun job.
Sam says, I saw Trump's speech. I laughed out loud. I did too. He wasn't trying to be funny, but I laughed. I really did when I heard the dwarf part. Did you guys get free pizza at Pizza Hut when you worked there? The breadsticks there used to be top, the best in my opinion.
Oh yeah. I'm a thin crust kind of guy, though. I don't know about you. You thin crust?
I could have guessed that about you.
Yeah, I'm a thin
I
crust.
like thin crust. FAA is now Goodwill hiring anyone with a developmental disability. So I wanted to mention a comment earlier. I forgot to mention. Oh, Rome Lux says Lockheed Martin was bragging about the remote Black Hawk helicopters just last fall. Yeah, that's correct. I saw
So
a
maybe
video
some
about
AI,
that also.
Maybe there's some AI shit that we don't know about that
Well,
happened.
so that's the thing. One of the things I put up on screen last night, I was like, get ready for your AI co-pilot, because I found a publication on, I can't remember, it was like a government funded program where they're developing an AI co-pilot. Let me see if I can find it. And that, so it's basically going to be like the test. Yeah, it's here's what it says. AI-powered decision support systems being integrated with the growing air traffic, increasing demands on pilots, and the ever-present issue of human error. The commercial aviation industry's pursuit of enhanced aviation safety remains an upward battle, especially in post-COVID times. Now the emergence of artificial intelligence technology like that being used with MIT's Air Guardian AI Copilot ushers in a new era of enhanced safety methods with potentials to revolutionize how pilots safely navigate the skies view. I think pilots might very well be lose their jobs to AI. I think this could be something where this leads to.
I am never getting into a plane flown by a robot.
No, I
That
won't
is the
fly unless the
day-
pilot's drunk.
That is the day. Exactly.
Right.
I need to know that the person in that cockpit wants to land as badly as I do.
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. The AI, so the AI might determine that the people on board with all the data, that there's enough people whose future, based on their past, with all the data it can collect so quickly, might end up committing a number of crimes that it might be more beneficial to society to just crash the thing into the Potomac.
Mm-hmm.
But there will be some changes. It looks like the DEI thing would have happened anyway. I'm just perplexed by the lack of focus on the historical aspect. When something happens for the first time ever, that's usually something that's highlighted, you know?
Mm.
That's why I kept researching this, because I'm like, maybe I'm just not searching the right thing, or I'm missing something. I even put a question out on X, and people came back with a few answers, but it wasn't what I was asking. It was like a small private or 2 helicopters. And the reason that I thought maybe that I'm missing something here is because nobody was talking about it. I'm like, this is a first time in history thing.
You're right, Brad. You know, you keep emphasizing that, and it's only now sinking in for me. It really hasn't been. We really should be wondering why this happened.
Right. It's
for
like
the
never
first
happened
time.
before.
Yeah.
That's
right.
the craziest part about it to me.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, how many, you know, midgets with epilepsy have been air traffic control before? I don't know. Okay, I
Not
think
enough,
that's
apparently.
maybe that's all. Maybe that's what elves do during the off season. Oh, one other thing. So the conspiracy theory. So this right here. So this I thought was funny, but also, of course, they're going to do that. So the conspiracy theories, which what we're talking about now, we'd be considered a wild conspiracy theory.
Mm-hmm.
And the Guardian and the media, what they always do is, before any investigation or any conclusions have been found, they immediately start saying, wild conspiracy theories being shared on X by lunatic dick shits, or just the most demeaning way to describe it. And then they say, so-and-so crazy person asked this crazy question, and it's just like the most reasonable question. And they don't engage in whether or not maybe it's reasonable. They just immediately do these ad hominem attacks. And here is the Guardian kind of representing this perfectly in their article about the wild conspiracy theory spreading. They said,
wild
totally.
conspiracy.
That's what they make it seem like, you know? Conspiracy theorists, says the Guardian, have rushed to social media to place uncorroborated blame on the U.S. government, suggesting that the collision must have been intentional because military helicopters don't fly into planes. So the last part of that is absolutely true, because it's the first time it's ever happened. Okay? You know what I mean? And they're just dismissing it.
Yeah, I know.
And then it says here, some allege the helicopter appeared to chase the bombardier, I can't say that, plane, as it approached for a landing, comparing the scene to a 1970s-style assassination. So they found one person to compare it to. They don't elaborate on what this 1970s-style assassination is. They just throw that in there. Others have demanded to know who was on the passenger plane, suggesting that the incident was a targeted hit. That is not a crazy question.
Yeah. Why do you want to know who was on the plane? Why do you care? Why do you
It's
care?
like, shut-
what are you, a
shut
conspiracy
up.
theorist?
Yeah.
We are, and we're here to find out the information.
I don't wear condoms. You know, they're just like, you don't care. They reject that.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, and we already talked about this, but still, all those condoms that went to Gaza, we didn't have to worry about those glass cases or ask those creepy gas station guys to get them behind the counter. Could have just gone to Gaza. Authorities, says the Guardian. Oh, wait, no, another user echoed the claim, arguing that helicopters do not crash into airplanes and airplanes do not crash into helicopters, which is an provably true statement because, again, it's the first time this has ever happened.
Okay, so it does happen then.
Right. It just happened. So.
Okay, so it does happen.
Yeah.
See, this is what it's like arguing with these fucking
Right,
assholes.
totally. Yeah. It's just crazy to me.
So it does happen. That's what I'm just saying. You can agree that it happened, right? Okay.
Once.
Okay.
It happened for the
okay,
first
okay,
time. Yeah.
Okay.
So you're conspiracy theorists for saying it doesn't. You're writing this article and you're like typing this, or maybe it's AI written, but people speak this to the cameras from CNN and MSNBC, maybe even Fox. Does that even process, like, do you even comprehend that this actually is a very legitimate thing to say in this situation? Maybe they don't realize it's the first time it's ever happened.
Yeah. The conspiracy theory is that Trump fired all the FAA employees and they
After
went
he raped
home.
them, probably.
Yeah, that's
Raped
the
all those
conspiracy theory.
midgets. Yeah. Sent him home. Right. That's the ridiculous conspiracy theory. is that? Not this very reasonable thing. Did they even ask the question? I wonder.
Yeah.
Did it ever come into their mind, or were they just deliver the scripts to just read on camera? Because that was the first thing that I thought of. I've never heard of this before. Has it ever happened before? Authorities have not yet indicated what. So this is the best part about it. After just demonizing all of these questions that are reasonable, and then it says, authorities have not yet indicated what caused the crash, but there is nothing to suggest any validity to the wild theories being shared online. So we don't know anything. But we know that those wild theories that are very reasonable questions could possibly not be the answer.
I want to watch a show called Wild Conspiracy Theories.
And it's just like very good questions.
Yeah.
Said by somebody with like, it was like Alex Jones says stuff.
Yeah.
And
Whoa.
So Michael says Lilburn, Georgia.
Yeah.
So Lilburn is where one of the guys on the helicopter and the Army guys went to school. He went to Parkview High School, I grew up right next to Parkview. I would have gone to Parkview, but I moved right before I went to high school. I went to Brookwood, a rival high school. So that I have
You
a
and
friend.
Josh were so close to going to the same high school, man.
Yeah, I have a bunch of friends who I'm going to blame this entire accident on. It's all of that. So I do think maybe RFK. Because the Kennedys, when they're born, or when they're 10, they get a remote, one of those remote controls that can control any airplane. And I think when it came out that his dead ex-wife and somehow a now unearthed recording that just came out, accused him of being a sexual deviant, which is such a shocking thing to accuse a Kennedy of. I think he took that controller out and crashed the plane because he knew he could never get confirmed if people found that out, that he was not monogamous to one woman. So the confirmation hearings, we'll talk about that briefly in a second. This clip I think is funny. We talked about this briefly the other day, but it's so those condoms from Gaza. We got a little bit more of an explanation from Trump himself on those. Let's get this it's kind of a black screen there. Okay, here we go. So the way he says things is funny.
We identified and stopped $50 million being sent to Gaza to buy condoms for Hamas. 50 million.
It's just so funny. Condoms for
Condoms for Hamas. That's a musical.
Yeah, dude, that would be such a great
Condoms for
musical.
Hamas.
You're firing condoms off in one of those
Yeah.
T-shirt guns at the crowd. Not unused ones. of
We
course.
identified and stopped $50 million being sent to Gaza to buy condoms for Hamas. 50.
How much are condoms, by the way? Like you can get a lot for $50 million.
I don't know. I don't use condoms.
That's according to the comment here.
According to the comment, that's-
Michael, you don't use condoms. Not a Moscow.
Million. And you know what's happened to them? They've used them as a method of making bombs.
Yeah, they bomb.
Condom bombs.
bombs.
You ever-
Right out of the dicks.
Yeah, they shoot these condom bombs right out of the dicks.
But so that's interesting to me. And I didn't search what I almost searched, and I probably will. I just don't have time for the show. Was how do you make a bomb out of a condom? You're gonna knock the FBI. You've been trying. You have soil, and all the ingredients from
Well,
Home
you
Depot.
got to put first thing I do is I stick a timer on the condom. You got to
Right.
have a timing device on there,
Uh-huh.
right? And then you fill it with gunpowder
And semen.
and semen, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you stick a fuse in it.
And then it just blows a facial all over everybody.
How about that? We stopped an attempt to make an illicit payment for illegal alien
He says, "How about that?"
We stopped an attempt, and you know what's happened to them? They've used
How
them
do
as
these
a method
soldiers
of
not
making bombs.
laugh at all this?
I
How are
don't-
they
in
not
the background?
laughing? Yes. How are they not laughing?
I don't know, dude. I couldn't do it.
To them, they've used them as a method of making bombs. How about that?
Bombs.
We stopped an attempt to make an illicit payment for illegal alien resettlement. We canceled $181 million in DEI training contracts. This is just for the training of people in DEI, which has been terminated and completely terminated. And we paused $1.7
He
billion
should have said we pulled out of it. That's what he should have said.
in unauthorized payments to foreign organizations, including stopping more than $40 million that was on its way out the door to the very corrupt World Health Organization, which has not done its job and not done it properly. We also, thank you.
It's J.D. Vance. Let's start.
We also blocked $45 million for diversity scholarships in Burma. 45, that's a lot of money for diversity scholarships in Burma. You can imagine where that money went.
Condoms.
These were the types of payments, and many others. I could stand here all day and tell you things that we found, and we have to find them quickly because we want the money to flow to proper places.
So there it is. Mike says, "See what you did there with crisis actors." What do you mean, Mike? That's the claim about the crisis actors. It's another one of those conspiracies. It's like every conspiracy they say is crazy.
Did you ever go on a
It's
crisis
actually-
audition? Your agent ever send you on a crisis audition?
I haven't. Did you?
No.
No. I did. I mean, they used to have them on Craigslist and stuff.
I did.
And they actually. So when people say, when you bring up crisis actors and people look at you like you're crazy, I'm like, no, you actually. It's like here is because I covered a bunch of events. Some of you might remember the bridge that burned down in Georgia that was blamed on a crack addict that actually nobody got convicted of that bridge in the city of Atlanta burning down, and nobody got hurt. And I played all these clips because at the same time they were doing a vigilant guard training exercise that was focused on crisis response to, among other things, bridge collapsing in city. Like exactly what happened, and the training for that very thing happened to be going on in and around Atlanta at that time.
Yes.
And I played clips of the Vigilant Guard talking about it and of their what they were trying to accomplish. And the governor at the time, I think it was, who was the governor? Deal? Talking about it. And the best conclusion that I could come to as to what happened was that this was a live training exercise and that they intended to rebuild the bridge anyway. And they used this as a way to get that done while also conducting a training mission live. Training mission, not like the helicopter because nobody died, but it was very peculiar.
Yeah.
How safe it was, how nobody got hurt and nobody got. The guy who was on crack, who lived under a bridge, that they accused of doing it.
I was on the bridge.
At the time, you were.
I was on the bridge. Like I saw the whole thing.
Oh, you were driving.
I was driving. Yeah, I was driving on the bridge. I was far enough away that it didn't. But it was. I felt my car shake, and it was rumbling, and the whole bridge was
Stacey
shaking.
Abrams, so you can feel that anytime.
Stacey Abrams, yeah,
Right.
Yeah. It was to the point where I kind of looked around at the other cars, and my thought was, is this the part in the disaster movie where we all get out and run?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the whole thing. It was either one of the greatest coincidences that's ever happened, or that was part of the Vigilant Guard exercise where they crossed over and let's take that bridge out. We're rebuilding it anyway. And then it really screwed up traffic even more in Atlanta for a very long time. And it's very obvious, based on this training exercise they were doing with this helicopter, that they do real-world training exercises in actual conditions where the public doesn't realize they're doing it. So you don't need crisis actors in those conditions. But they're real, though. In other ones where they fake the stuff, they have the people go into MARTA with guns on. They actually hire friggin' crisis actors. So I thought you doing livestock thing, so you didn't text your Corona mama. I don't know if I missed some context there in the chats, but that's what I started talking about. If you hear of a crisis audition, leave town. Yeah, you're right, because the bullet. You might not realize the bullets are real in your crisis acting situation there. Condoms for Gaza. So the confirmation hearings, which I didn't pay a ton of attention to today because it's just so theatrical and so ridiculous. I have to say, now say what you will about RFK Jr. and you can't like everything about everybody. Everybody's going to have issues on one thing or another. But I still maintain that the best line out of these hearings and the best line that will ever be spoken out of any of these hearings came from RFK Jr. yesterday. And I want to reiterate it again because it's stuck with me. He said during his opening statement, he said that somebody who's healthy has 1,000 dreams. Somebody who's sick has only one.
I like that quote.
And while RFK Jr. might have some climate change issues and stuff that I don't agree with and whatever else, and, might be a sexual deviant as they try to push that story out.
Perfect doesn't
Okay,
exist, Brad.
a Kennedy. What's shocking?
Yeah.
The very fact that he has put the spotlight on health and food stuff and processed foods, it's made me think about it more. And it's made me
Bingo.
make better choices eating. And
All of a
looking
sudden, I'm
at
thinking
him,
about beef
he's-
tallow, Brad.
Right.
I'm like, what the fuck is beef tallow? And now I'm thinking about it.
right now, I'm draining all my blood and putting my plasma in a bag, just like Brian Johnson now.
Measuring my boners
Yeah,
against
measure
yours.
the quality of the erection, measure, the quality testers, though, you got it. They're a dime a dozen these days. So I think that's a good thing, that impact that it's had. It is funny because the dude is 71 years old.
I know. Yeah. it's
If
fucking
that's what
jacked.
testosterone does, if I reach that age, I'm going to be taking it. All right. He's in fantastic shape.
Golly, why wait?
Bad Christian. I don't like his abortion views either. Yeah, so it was
Hey.
interesting the way he answered the questions. That I've kind of noticed a theme with Kash Patel and really all of them. When they were asked about their disagreements with Trump, they focused their answer on what their specific job
Yeah.
is to do. What did you think about all that,
Exactly.
Ian?
Well, his abortion answer, this is what I thought. Oh my God, a Democrat actually admitted that abortion is immoral.
Right, because they're trying to divide him, so they have
Yeah.
to take the.
I was like,
right.
that's okay. At least we now we got a foot in the door. You're
Yeah.
you're agreeing that it's immoral.
I wonder how many
Yeah.
women he got pregnant just with his performance in that room. And
I
Megyn Kelly back. You saw the guys there.
Mhm.
They seemed to be intimidated by him. Like he didn't.
Oh, yeah.
He was very.
Yeah.
He didn't have time for the bullshit. And look, I'm not buying into everything Robert RFK Jr. does. I don't buy into anything anybody does. I just like the health message.
I like that too. And then everyone needs to calm the fuck down because I can't think of an HHS secretary that has affected my life in any real way. I not that I know of, at least. Maybe I'm just
Everything about my
historically ignorant,
life has been impacted.
but I just
by-
don't know how this position has ever affected my life.
Right. In fact,
know?
before he's even gotten it, just the focus on the subject, I think, has impacted people positively.
Mm-hmm.
I eat far less fast food, specifically because I think about it more, because so much talk has happened about it. Did you watch any of the hearings today, Ian?
I watched some of the highlights. The Kash Patel I didn't watch. I saw just very, very little of it. But I saw the exchange between Bernie and RFK, and it was great. 'cause
Onesies?
Bernie went on. Yeah. Oh God, the onesies exchange was fucking great.
It would have been great
So
if he would have pointed at the onesies.
Do
And
you-
it would have been a photo of him in a onesie.
Do you reject these onesies? Do you put one of these onesies on?
Stands up,
And-
rips his shirt off. He's wearing it.
onesie.
Yeah. Now, it was cool how Bad Christian mentioned here how he called out Sanders on taking all the money from farmers. Like
it's
all those
great.
people, it's just a bunch of corrupt pricks talking to other corrupt pricks. I'll say this: the only question I would have had for Kash Patel is, "Are you cross-eyed? And if so, where exactly are you looking right now?" Is what I've really. Yeah. I think they probably all get confirmed. If I had to guess,
I think so. I think
maybe
there's.
not.
I was trying to think, and have we ever witnessed one of the? Well, I guess no. I don't know if I've ever witnessed one not get confirmed. Don't they all eventually get confirmed? Isn't it just advise and consent? Like not.
Well, there's a couple that haven't. Like Trump's. Who was the one that he pushed first? Oh,
But
Matt
Gates dropped out on his own.
Yeah, but he lives in Whoville. It's too far away.
Yeah, it's too far away.
Hemp Carr on Rockfin says, talking about Nahira, which from the Gulf War, the 16-year-old crisis actor, who was the daughter of, who was it? Was it a Saudi Arabian ambassador? where she pretended to be a nurse in the hospital who saw the babies getting pulled out of the incubators and thrown on the floor. And they're in the 60 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that really is one of the, best examples, most well-known crisis actor, where that was scripted by Hill and Knowles, PR agency, which is also, they worked with the tobacco companies and whatnot, and they've been very influential in American culture for like 100 years now. And they wrote scripts. They just made up scripts about her seeing this to sell the Gulf War to Americans. And George Bush Sr. cited her testimony, I think, like 10 times while he was going around the country trying to sell it. And I think it was 8 or 9 congressmen, maybe women too, I can't remember, said that was the reason why they voted in favor of the war, and they wouldn't have had it been for that, and that was the difference. So the crisis actor situation worked to compel us into war in that situation. I mean, that's really not that long ago when you think about it. It's in the 90s, and it's really a crazy thing, right? But people bring up crisis actors or other things, and they say you're crazy, you're a conspiracy theorist, and you have just such a glaring example like this.
Yeah. People don't. There's a lot of people who don't want to. It's very difficult for people to accept they're being lied to.
Absolutely. Everybody thinks they're like other people can be bamboozled. Not me.
Yeah, not me. Not me. You
Not
gotta take
me.
your wild conspiracy theories to someplace else, pal.
Take your onesie and your Gaza condoms. I pull out, okay?
Yeah.
I wear 2-piece bathing suits. All right. On a lighter note, I think that I think you'll appreciate this story, Ian. So, of course, this guy has a Hawks basketball pants on. We got 3 guys who have a robot. I don't know where they got this robot, but they're interacting with their robot. And I'm going to show you their interaction with this robot. He kicks it. Another one kicks it. They're laughing. Oh, he kicks it on the ground. No! Kicks it again. The robot is getting kicked and tries to stand. I mean, it doesn't look like a person, but it does have arms and legs, and it is shaped like a humanoid. Okay, it's not a blob or chat GTP, just things you type in. Pushed, bullied, laughing at it, pushed again. So I feel bad for this robot right now, and I want to fight those 3 guys, honestly.
Yeah, what the fuck is going on?
I'm just glad that they only showed us this part, and they didn't show us a part where they were gangbanging it.
How much more of this video is there? What do they do to this thing?
Watch. You're going to find out.
Does this robot fight back?
Oh, my bad, my boy.
What if it kills them all?
Tell me it fights back.
Here it comes. It makes me think of a dog being abused, honestly.
Yeah.
You up down there, nigga? Nigga, where your mom at, nigga?
And he's like talking shit to it.
Where your mom at, boy? Where your mom's at, my boy?
Where your mom's at?
Where your mom? Oh!
So it just fell down like it had a seizure.
What the?
It would be great if, like, through the top of the ceiling, like a bigger robot came and said, "I'm its fucking mom."
My
What was
goodness.
that? Wait, he's extra heavy, man. Oh!
So he just tried to, like, pick it up, and it tried to run off, and he, like, fell to the ground with it.
Bro, this is 70,000, bro.
$70,000.
That's crazy. And they're, like, beating the shit out of it.
Bro, he's tweaking, bro.
Okay, that's it.
Wow.
So
I'm kind of disgusted by that.
it is. Would you hire these people after seeing this video?
No.
Would you let them
Good
babysit your
point.
kids?
Good point. There's going to be a lot of robot cancellations. The way people treat robots is going to get them canceled.
Imagine aliens if they saw
Listen.
this as a representation.
Whenever I interact with AI, I'm very nice.
I'm not.
Because-
So after seeing this, I've had to differentiate for myself because I'm like, I can see bullying ChatGPT or Grok a little bit. Like, I could be honest with you. I might want to ask Grok, hey, could you give me a summary of the plane helicopter crash from yesterday. And the first question always ends up coming out is, hey, could you give me a summary of all the reasons your mom is a whore? And even though it doesn't have a mom, it still is like, that's not nice. I'm like, yeah, well, it's not nice of your mom to throw that vag. Like, so I can't it's like a warm up that I don't even remember. I black out, and then there's just like this thing of just me insulting it for 10 minutes. But at least it doesn't have a humanoid form, okay? Because this type of behavior, I think, I don't know, man. I don't like that at all. It actually makes me want to stop shooting random NPCs on Red Dead Redemption and GTA.
I got to be honest. Like, I feel so guilty about it when I do it, but you just get bored. So you would sometimes you just want to lasso a person and drag them.
Right. It's like there's a train track with nobody laying on
You
it.
just want to lasso an NPC and just drag the NPC as it screams through
right.
town.
And so you can walk, what you can do is you walk up to it and you just get in its face and you wait for it to go, what are you doing? Get out of here. And so then it's their fault. So that's.
Yeah, I let them punch me first.
Yeah, it's like the American foreign policy. It's like you just really cross the red line until they swing at you first, and then you just tie them up, and you put them all on the international.
Put them on your horse, ride around
put
town.
them on your horse. They fall off. They talk shit to you. The Sanford experiment for this generation. Yeah, that's interesting. It's wild that we all know about these. We've seen these experiments that they've done. These social experiments.
Things are going to change so much, man. I just realized today. Well, the other day, I don't know if we were talking about it in the last show that I use ChatGPT instead of Google.
What, to ask about news? Yeah, the search.
When I'm searching for stuff.
Right. Yeah, that's so. I have a story that
and I'm not satisfied by Google results anymore. I'm like, this is
Google's
lame.
so bad now. It's really bad now. But those Chat GTP summaries and Perplexity summaries, they're not always correct. So it can be. It can
I like
seem,
to go. I'll go to the links and stuff, but it's really good for if you want to look up a recipe. I mean, or any. That's a basic example, but if you want to look up like
a
a
lot
recipe,
cooking.
I enjoy cooking.
Dabble, yeah.
I dabble. I make a really good omelet, Brad. Really good omelet.
I make
really good omelet. Yeah. But you can look up recipes and stuff, and they're pretty right on. I mean, dude, here's one.
It's never a fake recipe. It's never like you need to put 2 eggs, some ham, and a little bit of dirt.
Brad, I asked it to write a 1-hour intro to improv workshop, include all the games, and break it down for me. It used all the games you and I know.
Really? Was it like, okay,
it was
round everybody up and ask
I could have taken
pronouns.
this 1-hour syllabus.
That's interesting.
In 5
that is
minutes,
helpful.
5 minutes of tweaks, and it was ready to go.
Yeah, no, and then you can get this robot to do the workshop. You don't even have to be there.
Yeah, I mean,
you come back, they're all having sex
for your
with it.
knowledge, but it's certainly. I was like, this is such an easy tool. This is getting addictive.
Yeah, so that is a useful part of it. I found it to be very helpful while this story was breaking about the helicopter crash, because the questions that came into my head about, has this ever happened before? I would just ask it, and I would look at the links, and then I would explore further. And it would give me, it didn't give me some of the answers, because if you do it back to back, it will give you different answers quite often. But it will give you leads on where to look and help narrow your search.
That
So
kind
it's
of
helpful.
stuff is really helpful.
Tony says, this is your lighter note video. Yeah. That's funny. I haven't used DeepSeek. I don't know. I just know it's they say that it's cheaper than the other AI. I think what we're talking about is a good use of AI, but I really think AI kind of sucks, to be honest with you. I think it's a little retarded, but helpful if you use it right. So speaking of AI, my sister sent me this story because I think I'd told you about these lawyers that were using AI for case law, and it would send it back case law that didn't exist.
Yes.
And
yes.
You get paid a lot of money as a lawyer, and the research and putting together the argument is a lot of what you're getting paid for, and they're getting AI to do it. Well, there's another story like that happened. That let me find it here. Where was this? Hold on a second. Skipping that. Meta. Okay. So this person was like, it was like about misinformation, the lawsuit was. Which is why that's not at all what I'm looking at. This is retarded. I need AI to help me find the stuff in my own notes. All right, here it is. A Stanford professor who submitted an expert declaration to the District of Minnesota Court in the case of Coles versus Ellison on behalf of Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison about the dangers of AI included fake citations due to the use of generative AI to draft the declaration. So the declaration was based on hallucinations by AI. As the District of Minnesota Court aptly stated in its January decision, and they called it irony. The underlying lawsuit challenged the constitutionality of a Minnesota state statute aimed at curbing the use of deepfakes to influence elections by creating criminal penalties for the dissemination of AI-generated content 90 days before an election. Deepfakes, it talks about what they use, the images and whatnot. So deepfakes use generative AI to create these images or video of people doing things they didn't. And in the defense of the statute, the Minnesota attorney general, submitted a declaration from the Stanford professor regarding the dangers that the deepfakes pose of democracy. And what the plaintiffs noted is that the citations in this declaration were to non-existent publications.
That's hilarious.
I mean, it's crazy. And this is the attorney general. But they paid the lawyer, so they're not going to double check it, right? You're paying the lawyer probably a lot of money, state money, probably, actually. And so the opposing lawyer speculated that the declaration was produced using AI. And the citations were, as I said, hallucinations. And so they asked the court to exclude it. And so the attorney general's office admitted after that the expert used ChatGPT-4 to draft the declaration.
So funny.
How can you do that and not verify that it's
so
real?
Simple. Like, just, it's so simple. You could also it's so simple. Also, I imagine you could take the whole thing and run it through AI and say, AI,
is it real?
Verify this for me.
Yeah, right. Okay, you probably got to go. So quick fast beats on these science news, and we'll get out of here. I think you like these news. Scientists in China have manipulated embryonic stem cells to create laboratory mice with 2 male parents that managed to live to adulthood.
What a breakthrough! Live to adulthood?
Do what?
No, I'm kidding.
The mice.
So the mice, they have 2 male parents and they live to adulthood.
Yeah, they get 2 my 2 dads. They didn't have a mom, so I don't know how they. I don't know who the scientist is who has to go in every day and jerk off these mice. You walk in, there's a guy in the corner of the lab coat on, just a little, maybe has the smallest fingers.
Yeah.
Whacking these things. And as soon as he walks in, all of the mice run over to him because he's definitely their favorite.
Yeah. They roll over on their
like,
backs.
jerk me off,
Big
and
mouse boners sticking up in there.
Right, which actually, there's a lot bigger than their entire body.
Yeah. People don't realize that they're showers. They're growers, not showers.
You can see them from space, from a Tesla space rocket. And so they use some, stem cell technology to do this. And this breakthrough should be, even though it is such a, according to this article, a breakthrough in fertility, which will enable not only 2 men to have a baby from their sperm and stem cells, but also you can just have a baby by yourself, apparently, with this. And you can be like 100 years old and have a baby.
That's what I'm going to do then, Brad. Right. I'm going to just have a baby by myself.
Absolutely. You follow Brian Johnson's blueprint to never die. You're like, I don't have a kid yet. I'm going to wait till I'm 120, 150. And I'm just going to do it on my own.
I'll get to use the pregnant mom parking.
Absolutely. I'm going to bang myself, impregnate myself using this technology, and have a baby. However, the concern is that even though these mice did live to adulthood, they had significant developmental abnormalities.
So they're retarded.
it's
They lived forever, but
there's
they're
a problem.
retarded.
It turns out
Right.
that if
There's
it's
always
not a
a
natural
catch.
thing, that the baby's a little off.
Always a catch.
I wonder, like, if it's
Of
a
course,
distinct
listen.
look, you know?
If two dudes got together and had a baby, they'd only be able to produce retards. That's it.
Absolutely.
That's it.
And who wants to be that baby, you know, to tell people about that? Because it's not just like you have two gay dads or two moms, something like that. It's like, no. Actually, I was born through the combination of my two dads, semen, and some I don't even know how it works, but it's a lab scientist had to come jack off a mouse and combine it. I don't even know. And that's where it came from. That is going to, you have to really get to a level of progressiveness in society where someone would be a spokesperson.
Why
for
are they?
that.
Why and also, this is kind of like Nazi science, if you ask me.
Right.
Why is anybody trying to figure out how to have a baby, how to have two guys have a baby? Why are we trying to figure this out? Let's cure cancer. Let's get together and cure cancer.
No,
Not-
we want
No,
we
no,
want-
no, no,
we
no,
want
no.
butt
No more
sex to
two
produce
dudes.
babies.
No more two dudes having babies.
It's just gonna help humanity in case all the women
not
leave
as-
or something like that.
Not as much as some other things.
Yeah. But what if you tried doing it in this guy's butt instead? Okay,
That's
you know, blows the woman's head off.
Nope, that didn't work.
Yeah.
All right, what other ideas do we have?
Suck off this mice. What?
Suck off the mice.
Do it.
What are you, fucking chicken?
Don't stop.
you wanna be
I'm
one of
s-
these-
I'm so horny.
If you want
right
to be a
now.
fucking scientist
It's
down
like Chuck
here,
Schumer. I've never seen so many people aroused.
you
And
wanna be
similar.
if you want to be on our science team, you better suck that fucking mouse,
Yeah,
dude.
that's how you get in. Yeah. What happens in science team, you know, it
Yeah.
stays in science team. And finally, and similarly weird news, they call this the Holy Grail, which me and you briefly mentioned after. We were trying to figure out what Holy Grail was, and I believe you said the Dead Sea
Dead Sea
Scrolls.
Scrolls, right? I don't know
So
what you were
whenever
trying
you
to
guys-
describe. I
yeah.
didn't know what you're.
We couldn't, for some reason, figure out Holy Grail terminology. So whenever you guys are like, that's the Holy Grail of something, I want y'all to think that's the Dead Sea Scrolls of this thing.
Yeah.
Instead of Holy Grail. So the Holy Grail or Dead Sea Scrolls of fertility research, as this article we just mentioned, could be to allow a baby to be made by just one person. And people could soon be able to have a baby entirely on their own using lab-grown sperm and eggs. So it's not on your own, though. It's where did the lab-grown sperm and eggs come from? It means one person could provide both elements using genetically reprogrammed stem cells, skin cells. So I guess you have flaky skin, you turn that into a baby.
Wow.
Maybe. What's more is that the technology would allow thruples to have a baby in multiplex parenting situations.
This is, remember when I talked about a thruple? I think that's a polycule.
Oh, what?
You know how like Instagram just sends you shit if you start looking at something, it goes, "Oh, I guess you're interested in this."
Yeah,
Well, I
yeah.
all of a sudden I made the mistake of sharing a couple of ridiculous polyamory things with some friends.
Oh, God.
And now my feed, it's like people come. If you want to have some tips about keeping your a polycule is, I think, like their little. It's all their partners. It's like I imagine it's like a flow chart of sex
Oh,
partners.
God. And they all act like they're okay with it.
And they're all act like they're okay with it. Like this is not causing anybody any anxiety. In fact, there's one, it's a guy, and he's the dorkiest guy in the world. And he's got two wives, and he always does these skits with them. And one of the one,
Are they unattractive?
they're all no, the two women are attractive. This is
Really?
what's crazy about it. It's like what? Anyways, so and one of the skits is him asking his wife to leave the house for the weekend because he's bringing a girl home. And they're acting like this is
Is it funny? Is it a good skit?
no, it's stupid. Well, no, it's as stupid as it sounds. It's it's funny that she just goes, you know what? That's not a bad idea. I'll just go see what my partner's doing. And
Yeah,
so
they'll go have sex with somebody else.
she's gonna go have sex with someone else.
And they can all get together and have the same
Dude,
baby, like a
it's
multiplex
so
baby.
weird. That is so wrong. That is not good for society.
What's
Sorry.
worse for that kid, having the two dads, they're biologically through this weird technology from two dads, or they're like, you have your eyes of your mom, your cheeks of your dad, your jaw of your third mom, and you're built like your was it your fourth or fifth mom? Like that would just be you'd be pulled in many different directions.
Mm-hmm.
I think. You know what we need? We need, after Trump, we need somebody in the presidency who's in a throuple.
It's fucking stupid.
Dancing with three people.
A kid just needs a mom and a dad. That's it. We figured it out.
Absolutely. That's crazy. And finally, it ended by saying, again, having a baby alone, surprisingly, would have much higher risk of genetic disorders. And this clinical genetic scientist at King College London, can you imagine doing the science? It's just crazy. Warned that in a way, it's the complete extreme of incest. And that's why it's dangerous. It's the complete extreme of incest. Of course it is. Of course. All right, Ian, you want to tell everybody where to find you, or is there any message you'd like to leave?
Just no real. Have a great weekend, everybody. You can follow me on Hello Covello. Sorry, I haven't been very active on social media. It's hard. I have a job. Anyways, yeah, that's it. That's all I got. I've had a lot of fun. It's been a fun week of shows, man.
It has been fun. I appreciate you joining me and having some
Yep.
fun with us. It's always good to bounce ideas back and forth.
Oh,
And
yeah.
maybe we'll get Josh here again soon. We'll have a throuple of a show. Thank you guys for hanging out in the chats and all the great comments and stuff and the tips. Really appreciate it. Propagandafight.com. Links in my link tree on Freedom Act Radio on X for all the ways to support the show. We will talk to you guys next week. Y'all have a fantastic rest of y'all's day. Or I think it's